light and bright blessings, everybody. I'm Lady Leeanna with another edition of Wicca for today. And today, it's kind of a very dark day and a very emotional time for me, as I'm faced with the death of one of my beloved aunts, one I haven't got to see in a long time, or have been able to really be around too much because she lives further away and working all the time, her on her end and me on mine. But right now she is facing death from cancer. A very dark thing indeed. And you know, as we speak, her kidneys have been shutting down, and they don't expect her to make it a few more days at all. You know, and this is going to be a very hurtful time for me. But I felt that, okay, you know, this is a vlog, and I can kind of put my feelings out there about it to some degree, you know, but also there's a very deep subject for learning here for everyone that watches the channel, and so I decided that that could be, you know, a positive thing, you know, turn a very dark and negative matter into, you know, finding something positive, you know, for all of the viewers, you know. But death is something that we all face, you know, at least 3 times within our lifetime, and, you know, to do with another that's close to us that we love. And then, of course, our own inevitable end within this life, you know. But it's a very hard thing, and most would consider it very dark and morbid matter. A lot of people just shudder to think about even talking about it or discussing it. But it's also a part of life, likewise. And it leaves room for discussion. I mean, because we as pagans share a lot of, you know, the same beliefs as far as reincarnation or an afterlife even, you know. And that is that we pass from this life to go join other people wherever they are that are close to us eventually, or you know, that we get reincarnated and come back, you know, so that we can do things better in the next life, you know. But, you know, it's a very, very deep and important part of who we are, you know, in all religions, as a matter of fact, all spiritual walks. We believe in an afterlife for the most part. Anyway, yes, but this particular aunt of mine, Aunt Sandra, she's had cancer in the past, and she beat it, actually, you know, the first time. But now, you know, it progressed without, I guess, her knowing about it, and it came back and with a vengeance, and she's looking at only a few days at the most, and that's a very sad thing for my family. I'm not hearing a lot from everybody. They're all over there, you know, and like I've said in a kind of a poem that I wrote for her on her Facebook page, you know, that I would love to be around her, you know, but with my husband working, with me working, with us being further away, and not really even knowing where her daughter's house is, which she's at right now. You know, the hospital couldn't do anything for her, so they send her home. And, you know, so I said in that poem that I wrote for her, I guess you could call it a poem, or writing, that, you know, her family and everyone is surrounding her so much, and I know that it's hard for her to find the sleep, the rest that she does so desperately need, you know. And so I stay back and realize that, you know, when a person leaves us from this world, they're not truly ever gone. They're not permanently gone from our lives, that they watch over us. And hopefully that will, give a kind of a strength to my family as they all read it, you know, because some of them are finding it on our page already and it's going around, you know. So, and that's kind of what I had hoped with this, you know, writing that I had created. Sort of a letter to my dying aunt, and how I feel about her. And it was kind of put in a poetic way, I guess. But it was a way of putting my feelings on paper out to her, you know, to where, you know, maybe someone will read it and then talk to her in her ear, you know, as she lays there about it, you know, about my writing to her. So she'll know that it, at least in spirit, that I'm with her. Anyway, we as religious believers and spiritual followers, we acknowledge death. We accept it to a large degree, and our path dictates that we grow from it rather than to let it hinder us within our lives, you know. And that it's the truth. We have to grow from it. We have to learn from it and not let it pull us back, no matter who it is that we lose, because it's a fact of life, people. It's something that happens no matter how dark or morbid it is, no matter how much no one wants to talk about it. You know, it's an existing matter. And, you know, it's the cycles of life. And we as pagans, as witches especially, talk about the cycles of life to a large degree. And, you know, yet at the same time, it does pain us to lose people. Now, a lot of pagans will go around saying, oh, I accept death, I'm not going to let it hurt me whenever anybody passes, I'm going to be strong about it. No, it's not going to get to me. But you have to admit that no matter who you are, at one point or time within your life, upon either losing someone or getting ready to pass yourself, you're going to waver, you're going to fear, you're going to be scared, you know. And that's okay, you know, because although we really do know that there, deep down within ourselves and through faith, that there is an afterlife, we really don't know exactly how it comes about, what we go through, where we end up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we can accept it. We can try to be strong, acknowledging that at some point we're going to be scared. You know, but in the end, we have to be true to ourselves. I mean, we can't lie to ourselves. We can't fool ourselves, because your spirit is going to know in the end what it feels, you know. And so that's one thing that we have to face, is that there are things in this world that we fear. I mean, look at a tornado, a hurricane, a tsunami, an earthquake, whatever. They are bigger than us. This earth is bigger than us. The God system is bigger than us. And there's a lot to be feared there. We are a flea on a dog's coat. Actually, even smaller than that. I mean, think about it. Because, you know, the world is the dog, okay? You know, we are the fleas. I really look at it more as we're the ants on an anthill and the government is the queen that we are serving, you know. That's really and truthfully the way I look at things, you know. So, you know, go with either analogy, but in all reality, it's the truth. I mean, everything is larger than us. We are but a grain of sand on a beach, you know. But we all, whether we want to admit it or not, to some degree love life. No matter how bad it is to us, no matter who tries to control us, no matter who makes us do what, you know, to kiss their butt or whatever, to some degree, at some points in life, we love life. And so therefore, we're going to fear death. Okay? But now, you know, the spiritual and religious believers have a little bit luckier than your atheist or people that generally just don't believe in an afterlife at all, you know, because we have something to hold on to. And that's a good thing. No matter what it is that we're holding on to, no matter who ends up being right, or if none of us being right, but it ends up being something else completely different altogether, it's something to hold on to, and it's something to feel good about, you know, so that we can go into the happy hunting ground, you know, at the end of our life, and, you know, with minimal fear, although there will be some, you know. But heaven forbid there be a lot of pain, you know, or God and Goddess, no, we don't want a lot of pain when we pass. To just go to sleep is the best thing that one can hope to do, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of times it just doesn't happen that way. Most of the time it doesn't happen that way. And that, I guess, is one of the major things that we actually fear, regardless of who you are, is how you're going to go. In what way? How much pain is there going to be? Or how easy of a transcendence it's going to be. You know? So, I mean, facing everything is the first step in life to accepting death. You know? At some point within the next very short amount of time, I'm going to be attending a funeral. You know, and it's going to hurt. But it's to bid farewell to somebody that I love dearly, you know, and that's what we do. Now, in my recent past, by recent, I mean, you know, 18 years old on up, I had visits a lot of times from the people that passed away on me. My grandfather, my father, my grandmother, you know, and one or two others I've had visits from, you know, whether it was while I was asleep and in a dream, or a puff of smoke in the corner that smelled just like them, or their perfume, you know. A visit in the night through, you know, footsteps and a smell of cologne that I knew belonged to someone. I had dreams and visits, you know, from these people. I believe that they were all visits. But in your sleep, you're more deep in your subconscious and more open to everything than any other time within your life. And, you know, so I was fortunate enough to get those visits, and I can only hope that she shows herself, you know, to me before she goes on, or, you know, makes herself hidden from everybody that she loves and cares about. And they do. They make themselves hidden and unknown, and it's something that they're supposed to do. Anyway, you know, who knows, maybe I won't get that visit. There were times I didn't. Like, for instance, with my sister Lori, who was only 35 when she just went to sleep one night and didn't wake up. She didn't ever visit me physically. You know, there was one time that I felt her there, and I guess you could call that a visit. And that was when her little 7-year-old boy was with me right after her death. I mean, within just a very short amount of time. I can't even remember how much. But I had him from the time that she passed through about 2 to 3 weeks, you know, after her passing. But he would sleep up in the bed with me. And I remember one night as he was just cuddling up to my back, and I was facing the opposite wall of the door, and I don't know, I had a flash of her in my head. And it was her with her hand braced upon the door facing and looking in upon us. you know, her baby was there, you know, so why wouldn't she look in on him? And her sister likewise. After that, I didn't get any visits, and I felt cheated, you know, because I do this for other people on a typical level, but, you know, I just, you know, I feel, because she and I were psychically connected throughout life, she had the same gifts I did, but that none of the other brothers and sisters do. And me and her actually even went as far as, you know, the number game. I'm thinking of a 2-digit number, what is it? I'm thinking of a 3-digit number, what is it? I'm thinking of a color, what is it? Me and her did these things together. We had a very deep connection that way, even with our 5 years apart in age, you know. But she and I guess, were very, very close, you know, throughout life, and I could talk to her about anything. But, you know, I feel that she knew that I wasn't ready to see her yet. And so she just showed me a few flickers and a feeling of her being there and watching out over me and her son, especially her baby. And she knew that that was all I could handle, because from there, I actually locked myself up in my shop, here at the shop. And it wasn't actually my home also at that point in time, but I locked myself up in here. And I stayed here for like 3 weeks with never going home, after I finally sent my little nephew over to my mom's, his grandmother's, to stay for a while. And I just kind of closed off, curtained off from everyone, and I grieved so hard. I just played one cassette tape over and over and over again, and just sat back and cried with candlelight going, you know, when my sister passed. I mean, it was just that hard on me, you know. I feel that because I was grieving so hard, the higher power, or her herself, knew that I couldn't handle seeing her. And so I closed off from even my clientele in the psychic world for about 6 years. I wouldn't even do mediations with the deceased for the people that come to see me, you know, because I wasn't ready, you know. And subconsciously I knew it, but did not, I guess I did evaluate it lightly to some degree. Anyway, you know, no one is without pain in the death of someone that they love. No one. And no one is without fear, no matter how much they like to say they are. There's a lot of proud pagans out there, and I can understand where you're coming from. But no one is without fear of death. It just sometimes that it doesn't reveal itself until the end time, you know. And you know, but overall, you know, you accept it, you acknowledge it, that everyone, there comes a time when everyone dies from this life, so that they can do what it is that they have to do thereafter, so that they can get out of the pain that is inflicted on their body from the physical world, the tiredness and the illness overtaking them, or you know, maybe just because it is time for them to move on to their next state of existence so they can grow there, you know. But it is something that's inevitable, and you know, it is something to be feared to some degree, because that is one of the follies of humanity. It's fear, it's emotion. There are many follies, but they're a part of our being, you know. And it comes right along with being a very knowledgeable or well-thinking entity, you know, being one of the higher forms of life, I guess, if you want to call yourself that. You know, sometimes I like to think that animals have it right. I mean, Who's laying around and being petted whenever, or rubbed whenever they want to? Who's being fed on target? You know, who's being brushed out and bathed, you know, without ever having to do it themselves? Well, that's the puppy dogs and the kitty cats. They have it right, made in the shade. It is dark and morbid. It's something you don't want to have happen. It is something you accept. And it is something that takes you to a higher place in life thereafter. And last, it's not the ending of life. It's not the ending of your spirit. That is going to go on. And, you know, foremost, accept things for what they are. And try to be more of a pillar for other people. You know, try to be a stone, a rock for those around you in these grieving times. You know, but also don't be afraid of mourning for yourself. You know, here's a particularly good ritual that you can do upon the passing of someone that you love. There is some things that you can do before they've actually passed, and there are some things you can do after they have passed. First of all, upon a time when you expect that they will be passing, then you want to, you know, and they're not within their right mind, or you can't talk to them and tell them that you're okay with them going, then you can go outside and on a not so windy time, or with a glass jar candle, if it is a windy time, you can set it there. You know, you can set directly down on some loose soil where there's no grass, or if you have to, you can upon a grassy area. But you can go and you can set up on the ground outside, and you can start talking to the great spirits above, you know, and tell them that you need strength throughout this time, you know, to be able to overcome the pain that you'll be feeling in the short time ahead, and the pain that you feel now, and for them to help you to let go, and with little stubbornness, obstinacy, anyway, without being too stubborn, being able to let go, to be more accepting, you know. But you know, make peace with yourself out there first, okay? Embrace yourself for that which is to come. And next, you would want to prepare a candle, you know, a greenish blue candle if you can find one, a green candle along with a black one if you cannot. The black one to be, you know, the void, the transition between this life and the next is viewed to be black, okay? Even certain astrals are viewed to be pitch black, depending on low or whatever, you know. But, you know, light a black candle and a green one. The green one, have this person who's passing, their name written on it, and their birthday if you can get it. And brush it with a minty oil, you know, or some pine straw, jasmine, bamboo. All of those are for new beginnings. Anyway, you anoint this candle and you start burning it, like just a little bit, about 15 minutes a day, until the day they finally do pass, you know. And you know, you're telling the candle, you know, upon this time that you're ready to let go, and you can talk to their head. You can astral with your eyes closed while you're burning this candle, astral over to this person and talk to them as they lay in their bed sleeping, you know, and at the time you know that they would be sleeping, and tell them that it's okay if they want to let go. because it has to be. A lot of times they won't let go unless they know that it is okay. But you have to tell them sometimes. And then whenever they're gone, then you can go and you can bury that candle, you know, or finish burning it, you know, on their gravestone, you know, or continually just burning it from your house if they don't have one yet. Anyway, let's see. And afterwards, you can burn a blue candle for spiritual, you know. And a lot of people have different ideas as to what candle color does what. But, you know, what you feel in tune with, you know. But burn a blue candle after their passing. And maybe take an astral trip up or wherever you feel they are to visit them. Maybe just burn it at your bluest moments, you know, and ask them to visit you, okay? But in the end, what I suggest is you take and you make a bit of a leaf boat, and you take something of theirs, you know, like, even if it's a picture off of a social media site and you print it off, or a copy of a photo that you have of them, and kind of take some honey and stick it to that leaf, or tie it around it with some thread and then stick it on the top of another leaf, but make it a little bit heavy so it don't just blow off right away, you know, and kind of float this little leaf boat off, you know, and you can do other things along the way. I would suggest you have a little white candle with you, which means purity, and they are now at a pure form. So a little white candle with you while you're sending off this leaf boat into a river or a stream or whatever, you know. But, you know, this is a really good ritual for letting go, sending them off. Some people actually go and buy little boats, little, you know, wooden constructed boats, and send it off that way, you know. And if you can make one, all the better, or make a raft. But a leaf, a nice large leaf, would work just as good, you know. And eventually it's going to sink, but ain't that everything? That's what it's all about, isn't it? Anyway, this has been Lady Leeanna with this edition of Wicca for today. And I know that I have your deepest part with me and spirit through it this time. Okay. Take care of yourself, and merry part.